Have you ever wondered why some people make it to 95 or even 100 with their minds sharp and their bodies still moving, while others start to fade by their early 70s? It's not just luck. And it's not always about having good genes either. The truth is, many of the people who live the longest share one thing in common. They've managed to avoid the most common illnesses that quietly chip away at life after 60. It's not the big dramatic events that often shorten lives. It's the slow, silent health problems that creep in and wear the body down little by little. The good news is, if you've made it this far without some of these diseases, you're already on a path that could lead to a much longer, healthier life than most people expect. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 specific diseases that are known to reduce lifespan after 60. Diseases that don't always show obvious symptoms at first, but slowly take a toll on your health, your energy, and your independence. And more importantly, we'll talk about why not having them could be one of the strongest signs your body still has what it takes to make it to 100 and beyond. So let's begin with one of the most overlooked but deeply impactful conditions that can quietly shorten your life after 60, chronic lung disease. Most people think of breathing as something automatic, something you don't have to think about. But your lungs are more than just air sacs, they're your body's gateway to energy. Every single cell in your body relies on the oxygen they bring in. And the older we get, the more those lungs need care and attention. If you've reached your 60s, 70s, or even your 80s without chronic lung problems like COPD or emphysema, that's not just fortunate. That's a huge sign your internal systems, especially your respiratory system, are still functioning well. The lungs tend to get stiffer and more fragile as we age. Years of pollution, infection, even just shallow breathing can cause damage. But if you're still breathing clearly, still taking walks without gasping for air, it means your body is working with you, not against you. I once met a man named Walter, a retired mail carrier from Ohio. He lived to be 101. Every single morning, even in his 90s, he would open his front door, step outside, and walk up and down his driveway for at least 15 minutes, rain, snow, or sunshine. He called it waking up the lungs. Walter never smoked a day in his life, never used fancy supplements or trackers. But he swore by 2 things: fresh air and deep breathing. He believed that using his lungs every day kept them young. And his doctors were amazed. His lung function at 90 looked like someone 25 years younger. Science backs him up. When you move your body, take deep breaths, or even just sit up straight and expand your chest, you're keeping your lungs open, elastic, and able to clear out waste. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. A gentle walk, a few deep breaths with your arms stretched overhead. Even good posture while sitting can make a difference. Your lungs are like a sponge. They need to expand fully to stay healthy. And it's not just about breathing easier. Strong lungs protect your heart, your brain, your immune system. When your lungs can deliver oxygen efficiently, your heart doesn't have to work as hard. Your brain stays sharper. Your recovery from illness or even just a poor night's sleep is faster. The sad reality is, many older adults suffer from shortness of breath, fatigue, or constant coughing without realizing it could be early signs of lung disease. And once the damage is done, it's hard to undo. But if you're still breathing freely, still walking and talking without needing to catch your breath, you have something most people your age would be grateful to have: lung vitality. That's something worth protecting. Stay hydrated. Water helps keep mucus thin so your lungs can clear themselves. Eat antioxidant-rich foods like berries, leafy greens, and citrus fruits. Try to keep your home air clean. Open the windows when you can. Avoid harsh chemical cleaners, and consider adding a few indoor plants. These simple habits can help your lungs stay healthy for years to come. So if you've made it past 60 and you're still taking deep, steady breaths without wheezing or coughing, give yourself some credit. It means your body still has rhythm, still has strength. And it means you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Let's keep going and talk about another silent condition that can take a serious toll without warning: stroke and circulatory disorders. These often strike fast, but the damage begins years earlier. You may not think about it every day, but the simple fact that your brain still works the way it should. Your speech is clear, your balance is steady, and your memory still holds onto the names of friends and family. That alone puts you ahead of millions of older adults who've experienced a stroke. Strokes are often seen as sudden, random events. One moment someone is fine, the next they're in a hospital bed, unable to speak or move. But in truth, strokes don't just happen. They're the end result of years of strain on your circulatory system. And that's what makes avoiding a stroke well into your 70s or 80s such a powerful sign of inner health. When blood flow to the brain gets blocked or interrupted, the consequences can be devastating. But if your vessels are still strong, if your blood pressure has stayed steady, and your brain is still receiving oxygen smoothly, it means your body is still in sync. And that is no small thing. I remember a woman named Helen who lived in Minnesota and was still teaching community art classes at 88. She walked to class with a cane, not because she needed it, but because, as she said, people stop to chat when you look a little older. Her mind was sharp, her balance graceful, and her speech clear. One of her secrets? Every night before bed, she sat by her window, breathed deeply, and practiced gratitude. "It keeps my heart soft," she said. Her doctor once told her that her arteries were more flexible than some people in their 50s. And that's not just poetic, it's science. Chronic stress tightens your arteries and accelerates plaque buildup. But peaceful habits, whether it's walking, listening to music, prayer, or connecting with someone you love, literally help your blood flow better. They protect your brain. Avoiding strokes often comes down to three things: stable blood pressure, healthy circulation, and stress management. If you haven't had a stroke, even a minor one, by this point in life, it says a lot about how you've treated your body and how your body has responded in kind. Now, let's talk about something many people don't even realize is happening until it's already done real damage: diabetes. When people think of diabetes, they often picture sugar and insulin and needles. But this condition is far more than just blood sugar problems. It's a full-body breakdown of how your system handles fuel. And when that system slips out of balance, it can quietly affect your heart, your kidneys, your nerves, your brain, and even your eyes, without you knowing it. The scary part is, diabetes doesn't begin when your blood sugar hits a certain number. It begins years earlier, when your cells slowly stop listening to insulin. It starts quietly. Fatigue here, foggy thinking there. And by the time it's diagnosed, damage has already started. But if you're watching this right now in your 60s, 70s, or 80s and haven't been diagnosed with diabetes, you've preserved one of the most powerful foundations of health: metabolic balance. I once met a gentleman named Franklin, a retired Navy cook who lived in coastal Virginia. He never counted carbs, he didn't own a blood pressure cuff or a fitness tracker. But every morning, he brewed a pot of black coffee, ate 2 eggs with greens from his little backyard garden, and read the newspaper with his wife. He always stopped eating when he felt light and full of air, as he called it. At 85, his blood sugar was perfect. No medications, no fuss. His secret? He respected his body's signals. He didn't eat for boredom or stress. He ate to live, not to distract. And that's something doctors are now discovering. People who maintain a natural rhythm with food, who don't overfeed or rely on sugar to feel better, are far less likely to develop diabetes, even into advanced age. Diabetes steals vitality. It thickens the blood, slows circulation, and ages your organs from the inside out. But if you've avoided it this far, that's something worth protecting with every meal, every glass of water, and every night of sleep. Whole foods, regular movement, staying hydrated, getting good rest. These aren't trends. They're the building blocks of metabolic health. And the fact that your body is still keeping its balance, even with everything you've lived through, speaks volumes about your potential for the years ahead. Staying diabetes-free isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm, consistency, and honoring the wisdom your body has built over time. If you've made it this far without it, you're not just lucky. You're resilient, and resilience is one of the truest signs of longevity. Let's keep going. There's another quiet threat we need to talk about: one that touches nearly every family in one way or another. If you've never had it, you may already have the strongest sign of all that you're on your way to a long life. Cancer. Just the word can feel heavy. Almost everyone knows someone who's faced it, survived it, or been lost to it. And that's what makes this so important to say. If you've made it to this point in your life without ever being diagnosed with cancer, that is not just a stroke of luck. It's a remarkable sign that your body's deepest defenses are still standing guard. Cancer isn't just one disease. It's a breakdown in the body's ability to manage how cells grow, divide, and repair. Every day in every human body, strange little cells try to grow where they shouldn't. That part is normal. What matters is whether your immune system still has the strength and awareness to find those cells and shut them down before they take over. If your body is still doing that for you, even after 60, 70, or 80 years of life, it's telling you something powerful. Your internal wisdom is still intact. I once met a woman named Doris, who lived alone on a small farm in Oregon well into her late 90s. She tended a few goats, grew her own vegetables, and brewed chamomile tea with wild herbs from her land. But what I remember most was her laugh. It was loud, hearty, and filled with life. When asked how she stayed so healthy, she said, "I don't carry what doesn't belong to me. Not anger, not envy, not fear." And believe it or not, science backs her up. Chronic stress, unresolved resentment, and emotional weight can weaken the immune system, making it harder to fight off abnormal cells. Doris lived with lightness, emotionally and physically. She kept her diet simple, got plenty of sunshine, and made space every day for joy. That kind of life doesn't guarantee you'll avoid cancer, but it creates the kind of inner environment where healthy cells can thrive and where damaged cells are less likely to grow unchecked. If you haven't faced a cancer diagnosis by now, you've already passed one of the hardest tests nature gives us. That means your immune system still recognizes threats and responds appropriately. Your DNA repair systems are still doing their job. Your body is still choosing balance over chaos. And if you're thinking, well, I haven't had cancer yet, but I don't always eat right or sleep enough, that's okay. This isn't about perfection. It's about recognizing what your body has done right, often without you even realizing it. And from here on out, it's about supporting that inner strength however you can, whether that means eating more whole foods, going for regular screenings, or simply letting go of what weighs you down. Now let's talk about one final condition, one that affects millions of older adults, but often goes unnoticed until it's too late. Heart disease. If your heart is still strong, if you've never had a heart attack, bypass surgery, or been diagnosed with serious heart failure, you've already cleared one of the biggest hurdles to reaching 100. Your heart isn't just a pump, it's your engine, your metronome. It keeps everything else in your body running, from the brain to the toes. And as we age, the heart tends to weaken, not from one big event, but from slow, gradual wear. Tiny plaques form in your arteries. Blood pressure creeps up. The heart has to work harder, even when you're doing everyday things like walking up the stairs or bending down to tie a shoe. It doesn't happen overnight. It builds quietly over years. And yet, if you're sitting here today without heart disease, your heart has weathered all those years with strength and grace. I once met a man named Ray, a retired jazz pianist from New Orleans. He lived in a small apartment lined with records and memories, and even in his late 80s, his fingers danced across the keys like they were 25. He said music kept his heart young. But so did walking every morning, eating slow-cooked meals, and never missing his checkups. When his doctor looked at his heart function, he shook his head and said, "You're outpacing half the folks in their 50s. Ray wasn't a fitness nut. He wasn't perfect. But he was consistent. He moved. He laughed. He managed stress the way he managed music, with rhythm. That's what heart health really comes down to. Not intensity, but rhythm. The rhythm of movement, the rhythm of rest. The rhythm of connection with yourself and with others. And if your heart is still beating strong, still holding steady even after all these years, that's something to celebrate. It means your circulatory system is still flexible. Your blood is still flowing efficiently. And your body is still handling inflammation, stress, and aging in a way that supports life, not limits it. Now let's pause for a moment and reflect. If you've reached your later years without being diagnosed with any of these 5 conditions, chronic lung disease, stroke, diabetes, cancer, or heart disease, your body is sending you a clear message. It's saying, I've still got strength in me. I've still got time. These aren't just lucky breaks. They're the results of the choices you've made, the habits you've kept, and the wisdom you've gained along the way. Every healthy breath, every clear heartbeat, every pain-free step, it's all part of a story you've been writing for decades. And it's a story that doesn't have to end anytime soon. So now the question becomes, how do you protect what you've built? You keep moving. You keep listening to your body. You stay curious. You rest when you need to. You eat food that nourishes, not just fills. You laugh. You forgive. You let go of what's already happened and keep leaning toward what's ahead. Longevity isn't about chasing youth. It's about respecting life. It's about waking up each morning and saying, I still matter. This day still matters. And when you live like that, when you honor your health, your peace, and your purpose, 100 isn't just a number. It becomes a natural part of your journey. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you found this video helpful or comforting in any way, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share one thing you're proud of about your health, or one small habit you're committed to keeping this year. And if you haven't already, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to Strong Elderly Life, and hit the bell so you never miss another uplifting message just like this. Here's to your next chapter. May it be long, vibrant, and filled with joy. Because the best years of your life might still be ahead.